go spray something.
That won't do any good. These are other realm termites. Talking furniture attracts them. Look.
Help me! Are you gonna finish that knothole? Get them off me!
This is bad. This is really bad. The furniture talks, the termites talk. I haven't finished decorating. And now the party's starting.
Ladies, gentlemen, Jack Spratsky, welcome to episode number 31 of Sabrina's Witch Trials. This is the show where each episode we venture back into the mid-1990s to rewatch, review, and reminisce all about everyone's favorite Friday night spellfest, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I'm Alex Aruju, and folks, get ready to shit your pants because they're going to be full of excrement by the time this episode is over, because we're talking about the Halloween special from Season 2, Episode 31, A River of Candy Corn Runs Through It. And, of course, I needed a guest for this episode of The Witch Trials, and there is no one who more haunts this show with her presence than that media maven from ChrisConkers.com. Chris Aduju is here. Chris, how you doing?
I don't know. Based off of that intro, I'm either going to shit myself or start rustling some chains around because I haunt the show.
Both of those will happen. I think you will find that shitting yourself isn't as bad an experience as it sounds.
Rather rustle some chains around.
I don't believe I gave you the option.
I have to do both.
Yeah.
Simultaneously.
Like all great circus acts, the girl who shits herself and rattles chains. It's when the circus is hard up for money, but they go to those tricks. But Chris, before we get into the episode this time, usually I'll ask you how you're doing and how you've been. I don't care, because I've got something far more interesting and incredible to talk about here. So, like, a couple of weeks ago, I was just clicking through Wikipedia, as, people are wont to do. Just looking at random things, and I decided to go to Beth Broderick's Wikipedia page, because I hadn't looked at it in a while. So
wait, you're not there every day?
When I say a while, I mean like 4 days. I hadn't looked at it in 4 days. So I looked at it, and upon looking at her like early career, I discovered the most incredibly surprising thing ever. Are you ready for me to read this to you? Good. I will just read verbatim what like the first 3 sentences of her career page are.
There's a lot of build-up. I hope it's good.
Get ready. Billed as Beth Allison Broderick and later Norris O'Neill, she made her debut in 2 adult films, In Love, 1983, and Bordello, House of the Rising Sun, in 1985. Both roles portrayed her as a lesbian, and were financially unsuccessful. This came as a bit of a surprise to yours truly, Alex Aduju. Now, you can imagine, what was the first thing I did, Chris?
Looked for the movies.
I absolutely Googled these movies. Stunningly, not only am I able to find both of them, they both exist on YouTube. Wow. Like,
YouTube doesn't catch a lot of stuff.
Especially
stuff that's like very niche, like that no one's watching.
It's clearly flagged as like adult content because you have to sign in and prove you're over 18. It is straight up porno at points. Like it is like, I guess it's kind of like in the Cinemax style of like, I imagine what was more popular in pornography in the 80s, where it's like, oh, there's a plot, but then there are also these scenes that are just people fucking.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And like, I haven't watched it. I just clicked through to see if it was like, oh, is it like, no, I didn't sit there and go, oh boy. In part because I think it ruins my picture of Beth Broderick. In a way. In another way, it's just another role she took young actress wise. The thing is, like, so I just clicked through, and yeah, there are some scenes where Beth Broderick is, because I think the plot of Bordello, which is the one I clicked through, is like, oh no, somebody's trying to buy the Bordello or something, and we've got to stop it. But there are just scenes where like this quintessentially 80s mustachioed porn star is just fucking this lady. So all I'm going to say
I was
is
nodding.
Yeah.
I'm nodding along, but it's like no one can hear me.
Chris has
nodding.
utterly forgotten how a podcast works. All I'm going to say is if we do get a solid number of reviews, I'll say 30 on iTunes. I will find someone and we will review Bordello House of the Rising Sun.
Oh God, yeah, that's not gonna be me. No offense.
So get jazzed for that. But
Pretty sure reviewing porn with my brother is not going on the list of things I'm gonna do.
What? Phil won't say that.
Well,
there is no better way to possibly start this episode
it's
of
such a fucking mess.
Sabrina's Witch Trials.
Shit yourselves, and then there's porn.
That's not going to be the title.
No.
Of course, this probably has haunted Beth Broderick to an extent. And speaking of haunting, Chris,
That Chris does.
like you do on this podcast, we are here, of course, to talk about episode 31 of Sabrina's Witch Trials and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. A river of candy corn runs through it. A weird name for this teen sitcom's TV episode, but, whatever. First aired October 31st, 1997. What day is that, Chris?
Halloween.
This is Halloween. Halloween.
Maybe you could just play it.
No. You don't want to get sued, because God knows I've never used someone else's content before. I thought it was fun that this was episode 31 and it aired on Halloween.
Ah, yeah.
Right? Chris, of course, you're an old pro here at the Witch Trials, and but
Not
we begin.
like Beth Broderick, though.
Yes. Chris, originally billed as Norris O'Neill.
Norris O'Neill is such a weird name.
I like it. I like the alliteration. I think it's fun.
There is no alliteration.
Norris Neil.
It's O'Neill.
It's still
Those
catchy.
are two different letters.
This is why you haunt this podcast.
With your grammar.
You will know, of course, that I ask all my guests to describe the episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch we watched in a set number of words. It seems only right to ask you to describe this in the scariest number, that being 13. 13 words, Chris.
You know that every time I forget about this.
You
part,
absolutely
right?
do. And I actually factored this in, and it's going to give me a second to look something up. So you just tumble around there for a second.
How fortuitous.
Chris, I need 13 words. Let me hear them.
Okay. I went through like 4 of them, so let's see if this is right.
Perfect. You'll definitely nail it on the head.
Sabrina has to throw a Halloween party because Valerie told everyone she was.
Is probably better than was. But yes.
Well, it's past tense.
That's
She
definitely
had to because
it's definitely 13 words. That's how you count them. That's definitely an accurate description of this episode.
Told everyone about it.
Whatever. I'm not even going to count that. You did it. Job well done. A million huzzas. Absolutely accurate. As I said, October 31st, 1997. I actually have vivid memories of watching this episode on TV when it first aired, because I remember that I was too young at this point to go trick-or-treating with you and Phil at night. Mm-hmm. Mom wouldn't let me go. So I stayed home and watched this, because this is, at this point, this starts off a TGIF lineup. So this is 8 p.m. And I remember you guys going trick-or-treating and me being a little bit butthurt, I think is the fair term, that I couldn't go. But I did get to watch this episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which honestly, not a great one.
I feel like I remember it more fondly than I felt watching it this time.
Because all you really remember is the gimmick that the name alludes to. It's kind of like the Fawn episode, where you don't really remember the episode so well, you just remember the visual.
I remember her having the party and the candy corn and the band.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all I remember.
And that is literally like the last 5 minutes.
But that's the best part.
Absolutely. We'll get there. This was also part of TGIF's Frightful Halloween Bash lineup that they were promoting on the 31st of 1997. And if you think I don't have a commercial promoting this, you are totally fucking wrong.
Tonight, the world's most celebrated magicians and your favorite TGIF stars bring you death-defying magic and the most mystifying illusions you've ever seen. TGIF takes you where you've never gone before.
Creepy.
Into the unknown world of the supernatural.
Cool.
But be advised, things are not always as they appear. Tonight, you will believe in all things magical. Let's start by trying to figure out what TGIF stands for, with a little help from the world-famous Pendragons. If you haven't guessed, this week TGIF means that girl is floating. Keep watching TGIF's Frightful Halloween Bash, beginning with Sabrina. Have a cool time.
It's a real fun set of clips I got here. My favorite one from this is where they literally decapitate Danielle Fishel from Boy Meets World. Because what they're doing here is they are like, the whole gimmick was, all Halloween episodes, and also some of your
Everyone's a
TGIF
monster,
stars will
or-
be here in like this haunted house, and there's this magician doing all these magic tricks.
Okay.
One of them is like, oh yeah, Danielle Fishel is going to get decapitated.
Welcome back to TGIF's Frightful Halloween Bash. I have a feeling the lovely Topanga won't be smiling for long. Let's find out why.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, someone's head is about to fall.
How did I get myself into this?
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Can I have her hair?
TGIF will be right back, and so will I. Don't go anywhere.
They do, and then there's a whole fun thing where it's like, oh, at least I needed a haircut or whatever it was. She says some dumb little thing while she's in the basket. Anyway, the reason why we're all here, of course, episode 31, 7.9 million people joined me to watch this on this given night. In this,
Losers.
7.9 million young boys who couldn't go trick-or-treating all stayed home and watched this. In the Spellman living room, Chris, all of the Spellmans are waiting for their new furniture to be delivered, just in time for their quiet Halloween at home. Sabrina is ecstatic about not having to see her family at Halloween, but isn't interested in gym neighbors coming over to sing Halloween carols. We then hear a faraway voice yell delivery as 3 pieces of god-awful furniture fall from the sky. And Salem, as any cat would, immediately jumps onto the couch before being reprimanded, but doing the classic cat, I'm going to stomp the same place for like half an hour before I sit down action. And then that's basically where we go to the open. Chris,
Yes.
talk to me about this opening here. What did you like? Did you like the furniture, as I alluded to it being fugly as fuck?
It is really disgusting. I feel like the best looking piece is the sofa, though. It's like the least visually repulsive.
Yes, it's an ugly color. It's like a weird taupe with like. I do kind
It's
of
like basic grandma.
I like the fact that when you find out later what you find out, but that's kind of alluded to in the designs of these couches. But it's
They have eyes.
huh?
They have eyes.
They have
and,
eyes.
like,
The
eyebrows,
couch has a mustache.
a little hair. Though that chair that they say is like a young guy
Mhm.
totally sounds like a woman.
We'll talk about
It's
who's.
a really bad like. I'm pretty sure it was a voice actress, not
I can
an
confirm
actor.
it's an actor.
It's an actor.
Yes, and we will talk about who it is.
Seriously, sounds like a woman.
I'm showing Chris a picture of the couch with his little
With his
mustache.
eyes. Oh, I guess it is a mustache. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, it's fugly as fuck. It's fun to think about because it's like, whose style is this? Is this Zelda saying she really wants these, or is this Hilda?
It's all a mess. And it's like, there's no way that this is any better than your previous furniture.
No, it's
In
way
no
uglier,
way.
and you don't see it in the next episode, surprisingly. We also hear that Sabrina's grandpa likes to take his teeth out and play Find My Teeth. Apparently her grandpa is still alive at this point, so that's just more fun world building. I'm sure we'll never hear about him or from him again.
Nope. I think it's interesting that if you think about it, it's their Christmas, really,
Mhm.
and they don't want to be with family. Like, they kind of just want to be home on their own. I feel like that would be kind of sad.
Being home at Christmas?
I mean, I don't mind being home at Christmas, but like being kind of alone on Christmas and like not having family around is kind of sad.
I mean, is it though? Because like most people's families are awful people you don't want to see.
Kind of true.
There's a reason you only see families on holidays usually, and it's because they're annoying to put up with, and you literally put them off into as few days as possible. So we do hear Hilda note that the traffic getting back to the universe is always bumper to bumper. Sorry, fuck that one up. The traffic getting back to the universe is always vacuum to vacuum. How the fuck are 3 of them flying on a vacuum? Like,
It's a Dyson.
oh, the roomiest of all the vacuums. Yes. Also,
Efficient.
literally last year.
It's the Volvo of vacuums.
Very safe. Also, last year, they literally got to the party, the Halloween party that they had to go to in the other realm by taking like a magic elevator up to, I guess, the moon, because they could see Earth, and Earth was really full that night. Just nothing is held over from the last Halloween episode. Most irritatingly,
But doesn't that happen with like every episode? Like every episode, it's new magic rules that
Yes.
never existed before. You can't do things that you previously did.
doesn't mean it's not bad writing, doesn't mean I don't get to point it out.
True.
Also, most
Put your pointer finger away, Al.
fine. Out comes the middle. Most egregiously, they don't bring back the Halloween Oh Happy Day Halloween carol that the aunties were singing in the first season's Halloween.
No, they're not feeling it this year.
That's a mistake.
Core the pumpkin ghost come play.
Halloween, oh happy day. Halloween, oh happy day.
You can make the Jim Neighbors joke all you want. Sing Halloween Oh Happy Day.
And I'm thinking about it.
Have a
like,
jolly holly holly Halloween.
in future episodes, does Halloween ever have a Christmassy vibe again? I feel like they always
Next season, season 3, the aunts go to visit their aunt in the other realm, and Sabrina has like a get together with Valerie, like a movie night with Valerie, and that's where like her aunt sends her the doll that goes evil.
Wow, I don't remember that episode.
That
at
one's
all.
pretty good. There's a lot of like
I kind of remember the aunt parts, but
Yeah.
I feel like the rest of it is completely gone.
I think overall it's a better episode than this one, but we'll get there in many, many months. In the halls of Westbridge, Valerie and Sabrina drool over hunky jock Asher, though Valerie can't work up the nerve to talk to him. Libby then immediately just walks up to Asher to invite him to her awesome Halloween party, totally free of freaks, noted loudly enough for the girls to hear. Sabrina just notes to Valerie that these will probably be the best years of Libby's life as she walks away. Valerie then gets an idea for a plan and loudly announces to an arriving Harvey that Sabrina is having an awesome Halloween party, complete with music, dancing, and other cool people activities. Libby gives Valerie some smack about losers at least having somewhere to go on the holiday, so it's a hard name. Valerie just burns her with some insult about a civil service exam, before Harvey notes to Valerie that he's shocked as Sabrina said she'd never have a party, immediately worrying our stunningly pretty outcast.
Sabrina's bash is gonna make your party look like a civil service exam.
Later in the cafeteria, Harvey tells Sabrina he heard about her party, immediately telling everyone in the cafeteria about her party. Valerie takes her aside and explains what happened to Sabrina, who's furious as her spooky gothic house is clearly the wrong setting for a Halloween party. Some weirdo, who we will talk about, asks Sabrina when the party is, so a sad Valerie begins to explain that Sabrina probably, definitely, almost certainly isn't having the party. Maybe. And just as the guy goes to shame Valerie about lying, Sabrina covers for her friend, explaining that Valerie just announced it too soon, as she has to ask her aunt, and it's dependent on what they say whether or not she can have a party. Smash cut to the aunts saying that she should have a party and they'd love to have a party, and Sabrina saying that they have to say no. They ask why she's never had any parties, and she goes on to explain that, like all teens, she's a little self-conscious about being a fucking witch. They promise that there will be no witchy stuff before immediately making some magic in a cauldron they're stirring. And Zelda goes on to convince Sabrina that a party would be great because not only will she have some fun, if it goes well, she might become what, Chris?
Talk of the town.
Toast of the town.
Toast.
And if all goes well, you might just go from normal to toast of the town.
Okay, Chris. Let's go back to Westbridge here. Valerie, I note this a lot, but Valerie's friendship with Sabrina feels so much more genuine than like anything Jenny has ever done. Like when they're just talking about like a hunky guy, it feels so much more natural and believable than like every scene Melissa Joan Hart shared with Jenny.
How do you get to be friends with those guys? I think we'd have to fill out a form. You know what I'd say to Asher if he talked to me? What? Hello. That would take guts.
I know what you mean, but at the same time, I think I just like the first season better.
I think there are a lot of fun episodes in the first season, a lot of memorable episodes. I think as two characters interacting, this is way better.
But at the same time, they don't seem like best friends. I don't know.
They seem like friends, though.
I don't know what it is, but it seems like there's just something standoffish about Sabrina. Like anyone who's like her friend doesn't actually seem like that close to her.
Yeah.
But I guess that makes sense. I mean, she's hiding a huge secret and, she can't really be herself with people.
Exactly. I thought, though, that this like situation, coupled with the fact that Valerie and Harvey went out on the last episode, goes a long way to explaining why Sabrina's a bit of a jerk to Valerie sometimes. Like, yeah, we're friends, but you did make me throw a Halloween party, and you did go on a date with a guy I had just broken up with. At
the same time, though, how is that different? Like, she's always a jerk, though. She's a jerk to well, pretty much everyone. But she was a jerk to Jenny.
She's just protecting her fragile heart, Chris. Protecting her fragile heart. You can't disagree with it because it's true.
I feel like maybe part of her wants to put someone down because she gets put down all the time. So she's her Sabrina.
She keeps like beating.
Like she's Libby to Sabrina, and
she keeps punching bags around. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like to a certain extent it makes her feel better about herself. Like I might be a loser, but I'm not as much of a loser as Valerie.
What's funny is in a lot of ways Valerie they try to depict her as a bigger loser. She's really not.
I feel like the thing is that Valerie tries harder. Valerie cares more about fitting in.
She definitely does.
Because she's newer at the school, she doesn't have a boyfriend. She cares more about like who's popular and fitting in with who's popular and looking cool. Whereas Sabrina, after the first season, I guess she kind of accepted her place and she's kind of like, well, I don't really need to fit in. I have my people. I do what I do and that's good enough. Mm-hmm. So they do try to make her seem like more of a loser, but I feel like it's more that she tries. She's always trying. And it's like, oh, the lovable loser who tries and fails.
And of course, if there's one thing this podcast has established more than anything else, we hate people who try. Chris, the douche who asks when the party is.
That douche, yeah.
Yes. Stunningly is making his return to this series.
That's good.
You would think continuity. So. His name is also stunningly Ramage.
Wait, is that his?
That is the character's name.
Is he from Beth Broderick's porno?
Yes, yes. He had an in with Beth Broderick, if you know what I'm saying. Ramage. He was previously on the last episode, Sabrina Teenage Boy, as one of like Harvey's garage gang.
Oh yeah,
Ramage.
The Greasers.
Yes, and also
Tell
Zach.
Tell me more.
And also Zach from the Power Rangers.
Weird.
It's crazy. Also, he is every bit of 28. Like he is not a convincing teenager.
Can we talk about how shitty Valerie's behavior is?
We can if you like.
Yeah, definitely.
Shitty in what way?
I feel like we need to. First of all, who the fuck are you to go around telling people that Sabrina's throwing a party without asking, without consulting her, because you can't, because you think your parents will dance?
Yes.
Like, that doesn't give you the right to say she's gonna throw one.
It was a real bitch move, which I think goes away to explaining why Sabrina and Valerie aren't best friends. But I think, no, it's an asshole thing to do. Yes.
I think it's an asshole thing, but at the same time, I guess it kind of makes sense if you think about how like almost needy she is in terms of like that extreme desire to fit in and to be popular. It kind of trumps everything else in her life. Like wanting to be a cool girl or like somehow achieve a higher social status is what drives her.
Definitely. I just think it's like, don't do that.
It's
ask your
shitty
friend.
as hell. Also, what is with the way that mobs of people form in the school?
It's a very small
She finds
school.
Harvey and then announces it, and then like, in seconds, it's like 50 people surrounding her, hearing that there's a party. And the same thing happens in the cafeteria.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot going on, Chris. It's Westbridge.
And then it's like, did someone say the magic word? Because someone says party, and it's like people start coming out of the freaking walls.
Hey, Sabrina, great news about your party.
Party? Whoa, party?
This is how apparently high schools were in the 90s. Just the mention of a party got like everybody's ears perked up, much like Ramage's dick in that
Such a
pornography.
Mess. Also,
film.
Side note, Asher is a total romance hero name.
We will talk about Asher when we when we see his incredible acting skills in a later scene.
I mean,
I did like the little note of like the aunties going, "Why don't you ever have a party? Come on, we're fun." I do feel like that bit and like this episode as a whole kind of feel like a retread of Jenny's non-dream, where Jenny comes over for a sleepover.
there are some similarities in terms of like weird shit is happening and they're trying to pass it off as not being
but
magical.
I also think like in that episode, the idea or like the main concept of Jenny having a sleepover with Sabrina kind of gets buried by always like just we're gonna chuck a bunch of other realm things that exist in the other realm at the story and like that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I feel the exact same thing happens here where like by the end of this episode the party is almost non-existent in the story that's being told, and like most of it is just like Sabrina on the outskirts of the party.
I feel like it has very little to do with Sabrina.
Right.
By that point at the end.
Well, believe me, that party has a lot to be said about it, and we'll get there.
I'm kind of sad that they don't use Libby more in this episode.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like they're relying so much on Valerie that they have kind of gone off of Libby. And I feel like maybe part of that is the reason why. Isn't it in the next season Libby's gone?
No, she's in season 3. She's gone in season 4.
Okay.
But we do have some good Libby episodes coming up pretty soon. It's not too far away that we get the one where Libby becomes a puzzle. And that's like all Libby. And that's a great episode.
I feel like you could have had more Libby in this episode.
Oh, definitely.
You spent so much time talking about Valerie, and like the stuff that Valerie actually gets in this episode is so lame.
But Chris,
like
with all the party stuff you're doing, you can either have more Libby stuff or you can have Nate Richard trick or treating. And I'm pretty glad.
Which was also lame.
I'm pretty glad with what we got.
It's so stupid. Like neither one of them really. No one has a role in this because Sabrina has a role, and at the same time, like all she does is, oh, this thing is messed up. This thing is messed up. Oh my god.
I mean, I don't want to bury the main event here, but I feel like the biggest issue with this episode is that they just got so infatuated with like creating other realm things and being like, oh look, this is weirder and this is different than it is in the mortal realm. They do that way too many times, and it detracts from the overall story trying to be told.
But I feel like there's also so many times where you're just like, well, couldn't you just do this?
Yes. Also, the other issue is magic is pretty much useless in this episode. But again, more on that in a minute. When the aunties are stirring the cauldron, there's a lot of stupidity going on because we talked about it a couple days ago. But if you watch really closely, the spoon that Hilda is using jumps between Hilda and Zella's hand like a million times. Every time the scene cuts to Sabrina talking, it jumps from one to the other. That's just really poor
Continuity.
That is the word. But also just the idea that this like bubbling hot cauldron that a few seconds later Hilda cannot lick because she'll be horribly burned.
It's totally plastic.
Not only is it plastic, it's sitting on a plastic tablecloth. Like, that thing would be melted in a second. Come on, guys.
It's magic.
Yes, it's a magic tablecloth that's very cheaply made. They went to Other Realm Party City, and they spent $3. Just ridiculous.
Honestly, I'm more annoyed by the cauldron.
I mean...
You're a fucking show about witches. You don't have a fucking cauldron in your prop department?
They have plenty of cauldrons. Just not all of them are,
sex cauldron.
Yeah, not all of them are sex cauldrons. Only Beth's are. Chris.
Yes.
The last thing, of course, I want to talk about before we move on is the fashions in this scene.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these two girls. I've got Valerie and Sabrina on the screen here for you. I think Valerie looks very nice in her, like, I don't really love this shade of green. But I think the outfit is nice. She's got some, like, short shorts with some...
You just like that her boobs look good.
I honestly hadn't looked at the boobs.
Wait till she goes to the cafeteria. Then it's like boob city.
She is an incredibly attractive woman, Lindsay Sloan is. But I thought this outfit looks great. A different color would have looked even better, but I think this is...
You mean moss green doesn't do it for you?
It's a bit of a question mark. One of the many times, actually, I think we'll see this many more times, where Valerie actually looks better than Sabrina. Talk to me about what Sabrina's wearing here, Chris.
Whew. Sabrina is wearing a pink crew neck long sleeve t-shirt, I guess, with a burgundy stripe across it, with some sort of like Chinese medallion print.
Yes, and also like cherry blossoms, it looks like.
Is that koi fish? Like, I can't tell what's on the print.
It's a very Asian print.
The pink of the shirt has like a weird burgundy print, but honestly, the like very like Mortal Kombat like medallion thing. I don't know. Like I'm thinking like Power Rangers.
I would go more Jackie Chan Adventures, but fair enough.
But this is before that, so I'm kind of like,
oh, you want to keep it of the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at the time, like Chinese symbols and dragons and like embroidery and stuff like that was very popular. I definitely had a skirt with a dragon on it.
I think we can hit it on the head and say Shaolin Showdown.
This was before Shaolin.
I know, but that is where that coin would show up a few years later.
It was very popular at the time, but now it's kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? What life choices are you making?
Yeah, it's great. It's actually pretty bad.
And of course, burgundy pants to match.
Well, as you would. I mean, come on now. And do you want to talk about the auntie's Halloween little
aprons?
Aprons, yes.
I like Hilda's better.
I kind of do also, just because there's like a defined print.
Yeah, is
Zelda's
the other one
just
like lightning?
Huh?
Is it lightning on like a red sky?
It looks like red lightning, yeah.
And I also like the cut of Hilda's better. I think it's cuter.
Fair enough.
It's got a little ruffle.
Onward we move. Sabrina decorates for the party and scolds an adorable Salem as he eats from a large bowl of Cheetos.
Get it.
Salem, those are for the guests.
I'm just making sure all is right. Cheetos should be served at room temperature, you know.
Hilda answers the phone for Sabrina, and as Sabrina picks it up, she finds that it's Harvey with bad news. He's unable to go to her party as he has to take his brother trick-or-treating, and sugar makes him crazy. He apologizes for being unable to go and says that he'll see her later, maybe. She growls about Harvey, the only confirmed boy for her party, canceling before Hilda hears... I believe it's actually Zelda. Zelda hears something from the living room asking if she turned the TV on, so Sabrina goes to investigate, leaving Hilda just to add a little bit of MSG to the candy corn. A scream quickly brings the aunties into the living room, and Sabrina announces that their furniture is talking, and we get some middling puppetry and even more like average dialogue between the couches. The family
much to say.
of couches, because they grouse including about the 26-year-old armchair still living at home. I've got one more year.
What's the matter?
Our furniture?
It's talking.
Could you people bug off?
Marvin, could you possibly be nice to the new owners? For a change. Couches are from Mars. Chairs are from Venus.
All this from a 26-year-old who still lives with his parents.
I've been looking for a place. Get off my back. You think it's easy?
Thank you.
Zelda notes that they apparently bought talking furniture, to which Sabrina asks if they were people who accidentally turned into furniture. A fair question. But everyone, including the talking cat, shoots those questions down, rather. Zelda tries to zap them back eventually, but it doesn't work. And Hilda remembers that they bought the furniture on credit, so they can't return them until they're paid off. Not how credit works.
Other realm credit.
The aunties then decide to go back to the store and explain the mistake. And as they leave, Sabrina is just forced to sit on the mother chair. The aunties then arrive in the other realm, outside of Other Realm Furniture, well named, and discover it's closed before Zelda remembers that everything in the other realm is closed. Except Denny's, apparently. That's still open. Hilda wants to go in for pie, but Zelda says that they should probably get back, as Sabrina's going to need them, though Hilda still wants the pie. She really does. Maybe get a couple of, 2 moons over my hammy? Is that one of them?
You're asking the wrong person.
The traditional Grand Slam is a big Denny thing. Chris.
Ow.
I was at first a little disgusted by how candy corn was being made. I then watched at least 2 YouTube videos about how candy corn is made, and there is a point where it is liquid, so it starts as a slurry and then gets pressed into mold. It's literally called a slurry. Then they add like marshmallow to it. When it gets pushed into a mold that's laced with cornstarch.
Please stop.
And then you get some candy corn. Hopefully
it's disgusting.
Hopefully there's a future episode where the aunties go into the whole molding process of the candy corn. I thought the most disgusting thing is what we will see a little later on when it comes out of out of the cauldron as a liquid. But that's for the future. Okay, talking furniture, Chris.
So much to say.
Take it away.
How does the armchair still live at home with its parents? Especially when they shoot down Sabrina and they're like, oh, it's just furniture that talks?
Mm-hmm.
If it's furniture, how the fuck does it have parents?
There's that. How shouldn't
the whole idea that it has personality and stuff?
If it's sold as a set, I mean, it doesn't have.
I don't think it was sold as a set,
but it doesn't have agency about where it lives. It's a piece of furniture.
Yeah. And then it's like, how is it living somewhere? It's fucking living with them now, so it's not living at home with its parents.
Also, well, I guess they do kind of cover this because they say like they're great for people to talk to at home or whatever. But who the fuck would ever buy talking furniture? Like
really lonely people.
Even that, like,
I mean, even then, it's like, the internet exists.
I think that the actual like puppetry, to be fair, I called it middling. I think it's actually done pretty well. The furniture does look like it is talking. I hate the fact that like they have nothing to say, and we go into this very boring diatribe about like, oh, go stop living at home. Couches are from Mars, chairs are from Venus.
It was just a collection of random statements because they wanted to try and be funny.
Yep.
But it doesn't actually make sense with anything that they're saying about the furniture or with anything that the furniture is saying. Like, none of it makes sense. It's just word vomit for the sake of filling that time and saying things that sound like they're funny.
Mm-hmm. I have always hated these talking furniture bits. I don't know if I was a little scared of them as a kid. I don't know.
Well, they're a little creepy.
I do always remember the couch, especially, and like the eyes.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Is it just me, or is the laugh track on this episode like particularly aggressive?
There are moments where like they have the same issue where it's like someone's going to make a joke and we won't put a laugh track there, but then someone will just say something that might be a little bit funny but isn't a joke in the context.
And it's not funny enough for a laugh.
And everyone explodes, yes.
Apparently, we accidentally bought talking furniture.
Do you want to say duh, or should I? Talking furniture? What, were they people that were turned into furniture? Of course not.
Where would you get an idea like that?
It's just furniture that talks.
That's right. We're sideshow acts.
We have personalities and feelings, you know.
Yeah.
And we're great for single people.
And I can't wait to get to know each and every one of you. Zap them back. It could be fun.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Did you recognize, Chris, the voice?
No, I didn't.
Of the Rasta chair.
I thought it was a woman.
It is a man. Pretty famous voice actor.
It was awful.
We'll talk about that for a second. But the Rasta chair was played by Richard Stephen Horvitz. Sorry, Horvitz. No, second no. Richard Stephen Horvitz. Probably most famous in voice acting as the voice of everyone's favorite high-pitched robot from Power Rangers, Alpha 5.
Are you gonna put that there?
Yes? Do you have a problem with that?
No, don't let a sense of style ruin your design.
Aye, Zordon. They can't take another shock like that.
Alpha, contact Tommy immediately.
No. He should have just done the Alpha voice.
I've been a little confused. By the way, the second straight episode where we have a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers guest.
True.
Next, watch the next episode when Rita Repulsa shows up as Sabrina's teacher. Yeah, fun. He's done so much voice acting. Like looking at his.
This was
career.
really like piss poor though. It was bad.
I didn't think it was that bad. I just thought it was like he had nothing to say. Like what do you write for a talking couch or a talking armchair after you get over the initial shock of it being a talking armchair?
I feel like they had the idea, hey, we should have talking armchairs, and then at the same time had no idea what the fuck they would say.
I like to think that they started out trying to make a whole episode around this, and it was like, fuck, we have nothing to do with these guys. Push them into the Halloween episode.
Like, what if they talk, but they're really annoying?
Their families.
And that's going to cause problems for Sabrina.
Families buy furniture. What if it was a family of furniture?
Also, are they a family?
Yes.
Because it didn't seem like they were a family.
They're definitely, like, the mom and the dad bicker like an old married couple, and then the father is like, why haven't you moved out of the house yet? So that definitely alludes to them.
The way he said it, it made it sound like a put down that he would say to someone else, not something he would say to his own child.
I don't know.
What I mean?
I think it reads as a family. But now, the more fun part, let's talk about the Spellman's Halloween party attires, Chris. We can begin with the aunties, Hilda and Zelda. Both beautiful, I thought. Different, but both looking fantastic.
This is why I was confused before. So if you go back a frame, you see they're still wearing these dresses, they have their aprons on. But they just came from the kitchen and they were wearing the other dresses.
Yes.
No,
See, this is when
the fuck did they change?
This is when the furniture, what I'm showing you now, when Hilda's dropping the MSG in, this is right before the furniture talks.
Okay.
The scene before is when Sabrina comes home and is like, I need to have a Halloween party, but I don't want to have one.
Okay, so they all changed at some point.
Yes.
And because the clothes is covered up by the same aprons,
Yeah.
so I didn't really notice when it changed.
I think they both look great. Zelda's, they're both wearing like black, somewhat
transparent.
Yeah. Zelda has a lot of like lace on her arms and it comes into like a
bell sleeve.
Fair enough. Let's call it that. And then Hilda, I think she's got like a black skirt and like this it looks like a tattoo, almost like a body tattoo, but like,
so Hilda's is more of like a sheer mesh with like almost like a wave pattern on it. And it's short, whereas Zelda's is floor length and like crochet. And she has, I think, an underskirt and like a bra or whatever.
They're both great.
Her dress,
Zelda's
is very similar to the one that the singer from 10,000 Maniacs.
Yes, it
has
is.
on.
Yes, it absolutely is. Not to be outdone, of course, we have Sabrina here in a orange, yellow, and black, very short dress.
Like psychedelic scoop neck dress over a black turtleneck.
And tights.
Very... Yeah, go ahead.
You want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it's very The Nanny.
It is very much The Nanny, and coincidentally, Fran Drescher wore this exact same dress in this exact same like outfit on an episode of The Nanny in that same year, 1997. I can also tell you that because of a very nice Instagram account, I believe called What Fran Wore, where like they post all of Fran's outfits and like background on them.
That's amazing.
I
need to follow them.
I can tell you this is a plein sud dress. PLEINSUD.
Plein sud.
Okay. One of us was a French major. Guess which one? Anything else to add here, Chris, in these scenes?
It's just awful.
Let's move on then.
Really hate the fucking furniture.
Sabrina is back to decorating as the young armchair gives her some sass about where she's putting a pumpkin, and the couch sneezes because of Salem, so he notes that finally he's found someone more pathetic than himself. The aunties return and bring bad news about the furniture, so they say they'll just move the furniture into the basement. Not to burn it, as Sabrina thinks, but to hide until after the party. They try to move the father's sofa first, but he's ticklish, so they move the armchair instead. The Rasta chair. I would love it if he was like, but maybe that's what they were thinking, like, oh, he's a typical like 20-something in the 90s. He loves Rasta music.
Was it supposed to look like dreadlocks, or was it just like supposed to look like hair?
It definitely doesn't look like dreadlocks, though. It does look like dreadlocks, especially with like the red and the pattern of the chair. It looks very Rasta, and I'm fine with it. We later hear the armchair wailing in pain and telling the aunties to get them off him, and Zelda goes in to inspect, only to discover that they have termites. Other realm termites.
Oh my god.
We get a cutaway to some unfunny men dressed as bugs eating fake wood, also. Sabrina notes that this is terrible.
Dressed as bugs?
Dressed as bugs. They have like little antennae on their head.
Yeah, but they're not dressed as bugs.
No, they literally, they took some hard hats.
Dressed as miners with,
yes, they are.
with antenna.
Sabrina notes that it's horrible because not only do they have termites, the furniture talks, and she hasn't finished decorating, only to have the doorbell ring as the party is about to begin. Zelda tells her to get the door, and they'll think of something, before dragging the armchair to the basement with Hilda. Sabrina answers the door and finds that it's Valerie, dressed in a fucking duck costume. When the young armchair screams that it doesn't want to die from the basement, Sabrina covers by explaining that her aunt is having a midlife crisis, which apparently Valerie's dad also went through.
I don't want to die! Who's that? My aunt. She's having a midlife crisis.
My dad had one of those. He bought a red car.
Sabrina tells Valerie to go into the kitchen and start filling bowls of pretzels, noting that the party will be great and normal. But when Hilda tells the chair that she's going to beat the stuffing out of it, Sabrina says that they're starting her on hormones next week. We then get a fun cutaway to Harvey telling a group of rambunctious kids explaining to them that when they go trick-or-treating, they have to say thank you. So when they go to a door and it's answered by a very old lady, the kids just ransack her, basically, take almost all her candy, almost knock her down. But good old guy Harvey still feels that he should ask for money for trick-or-treat for UNICEF. One of my favorite jokes from this episode.
That's not saying a lot.
I know. The lady then...
or it is saying a lot.
It's a great joke, is my point here. The lady hits him in the gut with her bag of candy. And Harvey does remember to say thank you, however, which polite to the end. Chris.
Yes.
So, not being able to zap the furniture back somehow means that you have to move it by hand.
It is the stupidest fucking concept. Why can't you zap it downstairs? Also, there's no fucking way that they made it downstairs with that thing.
No.
Because they literally are still on the landing and the thing starts screaming and they just slide it back. Like, there's no way.
It's also like a really big chair.
The three of them can't fucking even move it on a flat surface. How are they going to move it downstairs without using magic?
It is funny to see the three like pieces of furniture in the room. They're massive because they have to be puppets.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is not, you guys did not measure your space here. Yeah, it's so stupid. As I mentioned before, like, magic in this episode is totally useless to the people who have it.
Inconsistent.
I literally wrote, is magic good for anything?
Nope.
One of my low-key favorite moments, much like the Trick or Treat for UNICEF joke, is Valerie noting that, one, that her father had a midlife crisis, and the whole midlife crisis like run of jokes. I thought it was funny. I don't think that's how you don't give hormones for a midlife crisis. You give hormones for menopause.
Yeah.
Those two things aren't the same.
Nope.
But I did love that Valerie's dad got a red car. And while obviously the joke there is like he got a red convertible,
yeah.
I like to think he got like a regular person's car just
red.
in red, like a red
Woo!
Ford Taurus or like a red like Toyota Celica, something really boring. It's like, my God, it's red. I'm alive again. You want to talk about the duck costume, Chris? What the fuck was she thinking? Like,
I don't know. It's like she tries,
yeah,
but I don't know where the fuck she comes from with her attempts.
Maybe there's a bit of like subconsciously she's trying to hide behind the costume because she's uncomfortable with like talking to people or something like that. Then again, you're a teenager. You know how teenagers are. No one's gonna come dressed as in costume.
Even if they do, like,
it's not gonna
that
be
is like a mascot fucking costume.
Exactly. Like last year, Sabrina did dress up as a witch. Libby was Jackie O.
Yeah, everyone dressed up.
And Harvey was me on Halloween.
Yeah.
I dressed up as James. I dressed up as Harvey dressed up as James Dean last Halloween. It was pretty spot on. But yeah, like, you don't come dressed as the Mighty Ducks mascot, to your point.
No.
And you don't let your mom sew you into it either.
It's the most feminine duck.
It is like an Easter duck. Like,
yeah.
Like the White House is Easter duck. Anything else to note, Chris?
Such a fucking mess.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Back at the house, Zelda explains that the termites are in the basement and they look for a fix. Sabrina suggests calling an exterminator, but that doesn't work as other realm exterminators are very devout about Halloween.
Oh, the excuses.
Zelda comes up with the idea of keeping the termites at bay by feeding them old furniture and not just zapping in wood, which you theoretically could do.
No, magic doesn't work today. At least if it had been like, it's a holy day, magic doesn't work today.
Or just explain that in honor of Halloween, they don't use magic on Halloween.
Something like that,
yes.
But no. Magic still works because we need it for convenient things.
And you would get a lot of fun out of that, of like the aunties. They do this at different points of like the aunties trying to get along without magic, but instead it's just like, nah, fuck it. No. Just write in other realm shit. So they plan to feed furniture to the termites to keep them at bay, including Salem's scratching post, which Hilda notes was a gift that he never uses. This brings up an argument about the water pick that Salem bought Hilda that she never uses, but Zelda cuts that off.
And the tea cozy.
For the time being, we could feed the termites our old used furniture.
Yeah. Start with the old lawn chairs, the coterie, and Salem scratching post.
Hey!
It's a birthday present, and you never use it.
You never used the water pick I gave you.
Let's not get ugly. It's for the sake of Sabrina's party.
Or the tea cozy.
Sabrina then goes to answer the door after she tells the furniture that if they be quiet, she'll give them something, and then realizes that this is insane. And as she does answer the door, Salem threatens to cut the furniture. Another great fucking line by Nick Bakay.
The best.
So she answers the door, and like these kind of like schluppy, pseudo geeky.
Losers.
Yes, it's clearly the losers.
Yeah.
Casting did a great job here of like getting not nerds, but just like...
But like people who look like they would have been nerds.
People who joined me in staying at home on that Halloween to watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They come in and Sabrina explains where the food is and such. Valerie then comes in walking with a bowl of pretzels, explaining that she loves Sabrina's cauldron, only to spot that no one else is dressed up and to run upstairs, saddened, of course.
Throwing the bowl on the floor and making a fucking mess, which no one acknowledged.
Waste not, want not, Valerie.
This is food. There are people starving.
Hey, we might have magic, but one, that doesn't work today, and two, food still costs money.
True. We don't have a recipe for pretzels, okay, Valerie?
And if we did, it probably wouldn't work.
We'd fuck it up.
Sabrina then goes to check on her friend, explaining that the people should just talk, before turning around to explain that only the people should talk, but that nothing else would. And then just goes upstairs. I thought that was a great little line.
Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Everyone have a good time and talk amongst yourselves. I mean, the people talk. Nothing else should talk. And why would it? Here we go.
Sabrina finds Valerie in her room and notes that she's got to come downstairs to help her with the party. Valerie just says that she's not coming downstairs because nobody else came dressed as anything. Valerie also notes that she can't take off the costume after Sabrina says that she probably should instead of living as a recluse, because her mom sewed her into it. Zelda eventually comes to the door saying that more guests have arrived. None of them are in costume, but apparently one boy's wearing a cap. And Valerie just it's a hard name.
Valerie.
Valerie just notes that she really should have taken her brother's teasing seriously. Sabrina heads downstairs then. Chris, before we get to what happens next, talk to me about this party going full force. And actually, more importantly than anything that happens downstairs, talk to me about Valerie and Sabrina in Sabrina's bedroom. Chris, did you think it was sensible at all to sew a girl into a costume?
I mean, I guess you might if there is an issue with the zipper or the costume was torn in some way. Mm-hmm. But this is not a handmade costume. Her mom wasn't making this shit. And like, it's easier if I just sew it closed rather than putting in a zipper.
Yep.
So, I mean, there would have had to be a reason. I feel like it was really just for convenience, and she needs to be the duck.
Sure.
And so we need a reason why she has to keep the shit on.
Theoretically, one, Sabrina could find some scissors and cut her out of it. Two,
she's got fucking magic powers.
The magic powers thing. Like, if you sew her into it, you are definitely not worried about altering this costume in some way. Like, it's not a rental, and that's why you can't cut it. So just cut it. Magic also works.
Yep.
The other thing is, I like to think that this was Valerie's mom's way of avoiding Valerie like
having sex
at the party, or like being raped at the party or something. It's like, I'm just going to sew you into this and you'll be fine. Nothing bad will happen.
No, I feel like it was probably one of the other reasons, because I feel like
it was probably not the rape thing.
I feel like that's a little drastic. But also, if you think about it, I feel like it feeds into the idea that Sabrina wants to keep her a peg below her. Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, we'll just leave you in the duck costume and it'll be fine. Like, she wants her to be her clown so that...
Oh, sure, and later especially.
No matter what happens, Sabrina's not the biggest loser at the party. Even if her party completely fails, it can be, oh, well, did you see Valerie? Like, who the fuck shows up in a duck costume like that?
Absolutely.
So it's just partially, in some way, a way to make herself feel better. I feel like we're really psychoanalyzing this, but like, I feel like I always do this, and Sabrina always turns out bad.
Yeah, you do.
But you know what's funny? I loved her growing up, and like, I didn't see any of these things.
Sure, because you were just interested in all the candy
I was
corn.
like, Sabrina's awesome. She's got magic powers. She has Harvey. Like,
dresses like Fran Drescher.
So great. Like, she's the coolest. But I wasn't thinking, oh wow, Sabrina takes advantage of a lot of people and pimps out her aunt and
doesn't use magic well.
Steals trophies from people who rightfully deserve it and
cheats to win those trophies.
Mentally disturbs Libby by creating issues where she thinks she sees things or she
and
can't
turns her
control
into a goat.
Her physical reactions, like with the lipstick.
Yes, and also just like dresses up as or turns herself into a boy and then dumps Libby or like leaves Libby hanging. That's not nice.
Fuck.
Anyway, Sabrina then goes into the kitchen. Oh, sorry. When she comes downstairs later, Sabrina joins the party. She finds that Jim Neighbors is playing on the radio, but establishes that he definitely isn't in the room. And then Hilda comes in with some candy corn, explaining really emphatically that candy corn is what this party needs.
I know what this party needs. Candy corn.
And Hilda, it was a very nice gesture, but in case you didn't notice, we're not 5 years old.
Yes, I'm very aware of that. But if I were you, I would really play up the candy corn angle.
Sabrina tries to stop her, but she tells her that she should really play up the candy corn angle before taking her into the kitchen where we see a cauldron just like overflowing with candy corn slurry. And it really is gross because it comes out liquid and then like there's candy corn on the table underneath it. So it just kind of like molds into it and pushes it off. It's disgusting. Hilda explains that they tried to double the recipe for candy corn, but accidentally squared it, which isn't a thing you can do. But she looks into...
What kind of fucking math are you doing?
She looks into the cookbook, which is called Eat This, It'll Help You Feel Better.
Yeah. Is it help or make?
It'll make you feel better, you're right. Which we'll talk about in a second.
Great title.
Not only that, but the line that Hilda gives us here is this is probably my favorite joke in the whole episode. It's like, there's a chapter on what to do if you make too much candy corn. She looks it up, and this is what happens.
Does the recipe book have any answers?
Oh, there's a chapter called What to Do If You Make Too Much Candy Corn.
What does it say?
You can never make too much candy corn. Oh. No! Come in here! No! Zelda's naked!
I love it.
Which is not a great way to live.
No, you can never have
if that's
too much.
how the whole book is, it's probably like the most unhealthy cookbook ever.
It is actually, because we'll talk about it. Valerie then tries to bust in on the kitchen, but Sabrina stops her, and Hilda explains that she can't come in because Zelda's naked.
That was the best part, honestly.
That is great. This whole scene for Caroline Ray is pretty great. Sabrina takes her outside back into like the hall area and is glad that she came downstairs, but she says that she just came down to tell her that she thinks she's going insane because she heard a doorbell coming from the linen closet. Hilda plays it off as her wind chimes and goes upstairs to answer the other realm door, where she finds that it's Halloween characters. It is, and they're also caroling. Basically, just three giant monsters in very nice overcoats.
And snow.
Yes, who upon hearing that Hilda wants a quick Halloween carol, begin singing the 12,000 Days of Halloween. Bunch of jerks. Valerie downstairs tells Sabrina that she's going home, but Sabrina says that she has to stay and help her, and Valerie eventually reveals that she's afraid the kids will laugh at her. Sabrina is no comfort, however, just telling her that at least people will be entertained before literally like pushing her friend into this room of people who immediately begin laughing at her. Sabrina then goes to answer the door, and while it's initially nobody, it's eventually everyone's least favorite character from season 2, Quizmaster, who's here to give Sabrina a quiz when she least expects it, and mentioning that she's having a party only brings him inside quicker.
Trick or treat.
Huh?
I said trick or treat.
Quizmaster, not now, not tonight.
Oh, when you least expect it, the perfect time for a quiz.
Would it help if I said I was having a party?
Ooh. This is a party. Man, I've been to Amish quilting bees that were more happening than this.
And when are you appearing at the Laugh Factory?
Chris, a couple of scenes here.
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina using Valerie as entertainment basically sums up the problem with this episode, I think.
She loves pimping people out.
She does love doing it, that is true. But this episode does nothing good for Sabrina. Like, Sabrina's character is not...
yeah, it's not even like she saved the day with the party. Like,
No.
she's so, like, thinly spread because she's dealing with one crisis and another crisis, and that's supposed to be the entertaining factor where it's like, oh my god, look at all these things popping up, but at the same time it doesn't allow for any actual humor or any
story building
for Sabrina herself,
right.
because she's just all over the place, and I don't feel like...
I think I might have skipped the part. Yeah, I definitely did. Where Harvey goes trick or treat, or the second time he goes trick or treating and he gets egged.
Yeah, you skipped it.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. So Harvey goes trick or treating. Kids are egging
a house,
somebody's house. He tells them to stop. They egg him. That is what he gets for cutting his hair. Chris, back to this.
Yeah, I don't even think it does anything really for the other characters that it's supposed to be doing something for, because you get so little of it. So It's not even like, okay, this is an episode about Sabrina. Right. You're giving Valerie time to shine and Valerie's entertaining or whatever, but it's really not, because it's like Sabrina pushes her out and then people laugh and then you cut to something else.
Yep.
So there's no actual...
She's not like likable in this scene or really this episode very much. She, this being Sabrina, doesn't really overcome a lot. Like, it doesn't feel like she's, like, overcoming a situation as much as it's just, like, she's just keeping things at bay.
She's just bouncing from one thing to another.
And also doing a really poor job because she's not using magic to its fullest, which is annoying when you watch 31 episodes and you keep mentioning it. I know, believe me. Also, and the other thing is, the other aspect of the show, the comedy aspects... don't succeed in this episode. Like, not a lot of the stuff that's supposed to be funny is funny. The termites aren't funny. The couches aren't funny.
Unless you listen to the laugh track, then it's fucking hilarious.
The Halloween carolers aren't funny.
No.
Like, all this other realm stuff, which is supposed to be entertaining and funny in this episode, don't succeed. Which is why I think this episode doesn't succeed as whole. Eat this, it'll make you feel better, Chris. That's the cookbook that Hilda is reading. It's actually the title of a Dom DeLuise cookbook from around the time. Now,
I think it is his book.
Now, the funny thing
it looks like he's on the cover.
It is an exact copy of his cookbook, but
he doesn't have a recipe for candy corn?
Well, one, yes. He is not the guy on the cookbook.
It looks like him, though.
I know. The thing is, I'm pretty sure what happened was they weren't allowed to use his image. So they like replicated it, and either what they did was they found another fat guy who like looked like Dom DeLuise, or I'm pretty sure that's what happened, because if I can find,
because the top of the cookbook looks like there's like a piece of tape across it.
No, that's just like
a design element.
Yeah, it is. If you look real closely, it looks like they superimposed that goatee onto the guy. So that's what makes me think...
It looks like it's a fake head. Like the face is fake.
Yes, and that really is, I think, what they did, because everything else about it is exactly the same, like including the way he's holding that tray.
No, I think the piece on top, can you look at the actual book cover and see if that thing is blacked? Because it looks blacked out, like maybe his name was there. And they blacked out his name.
I think his name might be there.
There's definitely something. They put a red thing over it because you see how it is on the back cover.
Yes,
that's how it probably would be there.
But yeah, just a weird like thing to do where it's like, rather than just putting a little joke on this cookbook, we're gonna copy one.
Maybe they didn't have time to create one, so they just
this seems like
they
more
were just
work,
like,
though.
well, I have one in the office, and it just happened to be Dom DeLuise's cookbook.
Yeah, but this seems like more work. You got to edit the face of him, because like that's definitely not Dom DeLuise. I've looked at this copy of this cookbook. He looks nothing like that.
Also, come on, Dom. This isn't a good way to live.
Great point. Great point. Anything else to add from these scenes? The candy corn overflowing was gross.
Yes, it was.
Yes. We will talk more about Quizmaster's outfit in a second.
Oh, fucking Quizmaster.
We'll get there.
Oh, I was right.
What?
His name is there. They blacked it out.
There you go. In the kitchen, Quizmaster oddly sits on Sabrina's counter, beginning the quiz by asking her to make him a pumpkin, leading her to turn Quizmaster and his garish orange outfit into a CGI pumpkin.
Pop quiz challenge number 1. Make me a pumpkin.
Whatever you say.
This is not what I meant.
You want me to holler you out now?
No, turn me back, woman. Not funny.
Come on, you have to admit, that was pretty impressive.
What if some kid had come around with a baseball bat, huh?
She turns him back and asks if she can go back to the party, but when Quizmaster notes that he has one more question to ask, he just wants to know where the bathroom is, and Sabrina points it out to him before Hilda arrives in the kitchen with the Halloween carolers, explaining that they promised to be quiet if she gave them candy corn. Also, Zelda walks through the kitchen with a giant plank, and we get a bit of physical comedy.
Which is also a throwaway. Like, what the fuck?
Yes, it is. Use magic.
That's the only reason that they're using old furniture, because they want to have her drag it around and be like, out the way!
At one point, she feeds Sabrina's antique rocker that her mother gave her to the termites. Sabrina eventually decides that all of the confusion and problems are making her decide that it's worthless trying to be a normal teenager and that the party is over. She enters the very dull party where people are reading just in time for the doorbell to ring and for hunky jock Asher and his buddies to join the party, as he notes to his friends that they'll give it a couple minutes to see if it's total shit. It is, Asher. It really is. Valerie then remarks that one of the cool guys came to her party and she's dressed like a duck, before the girls realize that they have to get people to dance and decide to move the furniture. But of course, the couch is ticklish, so Sabrina suggests that they just dance around the furniture like they do in the big cities.
New York.
New York being the biggest of them all.
Sabrina I think she says specifically New York.
She does.
Yeah.
Sabrina turns on the stereo, or goes to turn on the stereo, but the door of the hutch breaks off. And we get some more fun termite conversations that no one gives a shit about.
It's veneer.
Asher wonders where the music is and notes that there was a DJ at Libby's party. So Valerie... It's the hardest name. It's the fucking hardest name. So
Valerie.
So
Valerie.
Val. So Val steps in.
You just point to me and I'll say it.
No. It's really mean. Valerie. It's hard to read quickly. Valerie. Anyway, Val steps in and says that they don't need music, and begins doing a funky chicken dance. That is until the floor collapses underneath her.
Oh my god.
A metaphor for her life.
Such a fucking mess.
Sending her careening into the basement, but she's okay because her tail feathers broke her fall.
We know Libby's got a DJ at her party. Maybe we should all just go there.
Yeah. No, come on, guys, stay! We don't need music to dance! Valerie, you all right?
Quack once for yes, twice for no.
I'm okay. The tail feathers broke my fall.
Chris, these scenes?
Such a mess.
What the fuck is Quizmaster wearing? Let's talk about this right now.
Yeah.
He's got on the most ridiculous pants in the world. They look like they were made from like tattered cloth of various like Halloween blankets.
I think it's brush strokes. Like someone took paint rollers and then just rolled them on the pants to create the textile, like stripes of colors in different directions. And then a shiny orange shirt.
The thing about the shirt is it's not shiny. It's like shockingly dull. It's like a dull yellow. A dull orange, rather.
It's so I know the fabric. I don't know what it's called, but it's like it has a sheen. So in certain lights and like when you're facing a certain way, it's flat. Like it almost looks like matte, but you see how it has that sheen? It's not shiny in like a silk or satin sort of way, but it has a weird sheen to it.
Okay, a Charlie Sheen. You all got the joke you were expecting.
And
so
then
don't
brown, I
complain.
think he has brown like suede loafers or
He
something
does have
on.
brown suede loafers, which are fine, but the rest of the outfit
No,
is ludicrous.
It's not even the shirt. I mean, the shirt is a mess, but the pants.
The pants are the problem. Which I believe is the title of the new Harvey Weinstein book. Zing.
No.
Take that, you
Not-
gross fuckhead.
It's not funny.
Somewhere in the world, Harvey Weinstein's going, oh, wow. I feel like somebody just said something bad about me.
Oh.
That's a different
That's a different feeling. These are the ones I've been having constantly.
Also, they try to wedge in the story about Sabrina, like, realizing that she can't be a normal teen or whatever. This is, one, really forced in there at the last minute. It's not like they've really built around that a lot in this episode. And two, that isn't the issue with this episode. The issue, especially this party, the issue
Is she
with
supposed to realize that somewhere? Where do you think she realized
she
that?
mentions it. She's like, I'm sick of trying to be a normal teenager. I can't have a party. I can't have a normal life. This party's over.
That's it. I've tried to be a normal teenager and have a normal social life, but it's no use. Might as well face it. This party's over.
Which is so quickly turned around when Asher shows up.
Yes, it is.
Which just shows you how normal she fucking is because she just wants to fit in like everyone else.
But the issue with this party isn't Sabrina's magic life. The
No.
issue is Sabrina's thrown a terrible party. Like, think about it.
The problem is that there's so many distractions that she can't focus on making the party work. Like, she's never with the people. She's never there.
But look at what she had planned even before
She had
everything
nothing.
else.
She had nothing planned.
Snacks and that's it.
Yeah,
like,
snacks and
music.
the stereo. And then
like how
the stereo hutch door breaks off.
Yes.
And yet
the stereo
that somehow means that she can't play music from the stereo. I was almost like, well, maybe I was trying to justify it. Like, maybe the termites got to the stereo, which makes no sense.
And she
unless it's
doesn't
like
say
a
that.
fucking like phonograph.
She doesn't say that either. I
No.
mean,
Well, she's not going to say it.
listen, the stupid thing here,
Oh, and then she does magic in front of everyone by
zapping in
the
the looking glass or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How many times have the aunties and Sabrina just zapped in a celebrity for no reason?
Yeah.
Right? Zap in a fucking singer. Right? What the fuck is like
or a DJ.
Call your old buddy Coolio over, ask him to rap a little. Or just a generic DJ. Or something cool.
Or a new stereo.
Or that. Like, the reason your party sucks is not because you have talking furniture. The reason your party sucks is because you did nothing for this party and you're boring people.
You lack ingenuity.
Now, as you know, maybe some of that is because she's distracted by all the other stuff going on.
Yeah.
But really, just zap in like a singer or a DJ and then you're good. Like, have some celebrity there and you'll be cool as fuck. That's it.
Yeah.
Not that fucking
Or,
hard.
Hey, look, everybody outside. There's this great display of something.
That
like
or
fireworks.
Also,
just your party had fireworks. Just fucking zap at the sky. And there
You're
are fireworks.
decorating by hand. You can put up more decorations.
I was thinking about that too. I was like, she could have had like the coolest fucking looking party because she could have like zapped in like. She could have completely changed the room. She could have made it look like a dungeon. She could have done whatever. But her lack of creativity and her lack of ingenuity is just like, oh, I'm just going to put the... Well, you know what's funny? It was probably harder for her to get the decorations that she does have because she would have had to actually go to a store and buy them.
I like to
because
think-
they wouldn't have had any because they don't decorate for Halloween because
true.
their Halloween is like Christmas.
And also, I like to think that she zapped them in, but then put them up by hand. Like, I won't go shopping, but I'll work them I'll put them on the fucking door by hand.
It's like the least possible effort, which is still more effort
Which
than
she
it,
should be doing.
Yeah, than it would have been if she had just used magic.
And it would have been way better. Yes. Chris, Asher wonders what could have happened as the hole looks like it had been chewed and has bite marks on
Aloud.
it.
He wonders aloud.
He does say all of this.
Fucking idiot.
As the couches begin screaming termites, scaring the entire party, Sabrina tries to explain. Just then the carolers come in caroling, also scaring the party. And once that happens, we get the most gifable part of this episode. A river of candy corn emanating from the dining room closed pocket doors.
Sabrina, how did you rig all this Halloween stuff up? It's awesome.
Oh, a little imagination and some yarn.
Well, it's really inventive. I mean, everyone's done spaghetti brains, but a river of candy corn.
Sabrina tries to come up with an explanation, but Asher just says that this is all awesome, as people have done a river... Sorry, nobody's ever done a river of candy corn. People have done spaghetti brains before.
Yeah.
Speaking of spaghetti brains, perfect nickname for Asher. Speaking of spaghetti grains, that's
Dom
semolina.
DeLuise.
Semolina is a spaghetti grain.
Dom DeLuise.
So yeah, Asher does a bit of give and take with Salem, and then he notes that this is a great party, as Val just begs for help from the basement.
Oh my god.
We then cut to later on, and everything's been resolved. Valerie is feeling good that the carolers came dressed up in costumes. The carolers ate the... It's a horror! I'm so tired.
Carolers and Valerie.
The carolers and Valerie are all having fun. One of the carolers ate the termites for the couches, so they're happy.
God. And he rubbed his chin.
He did. It's a weird mask.
It's because he tried rubbing his stomach, but the way he was sitting and the way the mask
the length of the chin, yeah.
It was half on his stomach, half on his chin.
And everyone's dancing and having fun. Harvey also showed up because he came to recover from his trick-or-treat trauma, which I believe he makes a joke about, like, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Trick or trauma,
if you will. It sounds like a really bad, like, it sounds like a Vanilla Ice rap, like trick or trauma.
or an episode of SVU.
Yeah. Wow, Benson, you sure decorated real well. Someone's been raped.
No, I think it's more likely that someone was raped at a Halloween party.
That also works.
Maybe with candy corn and a giant hole in the ground where someone fell through to the basement.
Yes, it's the same set, actually.
Same.
They reuse them. Sabrina explains that she had a really calm and peaceful Halloween party to Harvey. Salem then says the next song is Lady's Choice, so Sabrina decides to zap in very 1997 band 10,000 Maniacs, who begin singing their hit of the time, Rainy Day. We get a montage of everyone dancing before Sabrina sees Quizmaster eating from a very large bowl of candy corn, despite previously noting that that's kid stuff. He eventually admits that he didn't come to quiz her, but instead, he was just lonely because his family lives way on the other side of the other realm, and it's hard to visit, apparently, for a wizard or witch or whatever the fuck he is.
Traffic, man.
More montaging happens, and Libby arrives at Sabrina's party, explaining that she came to see what the biggest accumulation of weirdos looked like before spotting 10,000 Maniacs. As she walks away, Asher does a terrible job of telling us that apparently her party broke up hours ago as some kids egged her house, and Harvey just gives us a knowing smirk as Sabrina says that she throws a great party, demonstrably untrue. The credits also then roll as we just get some more 10,000 Maniacs. I'm a fucking mess. I've been haunted by someone who doesn't have a lot of diction. We get more 10,000 Maniacs singing and visions of all the cast and partygoers dancing, including some dancing chairs. And that's where the episode wraps up. Chris.
Yeah.
Asher's a terrible actor.
He's not great, but
he literally
they want to milk it because they paid him for a speaking role.
He
so.
literally stutters, and you couldn't take this again. He literally stutters and pauses in the middle of like two sentences.
Yeah.
I heard her party's been over for hours. Bunch of kids egged her house.
It's ridiculous. 10,000 Maniacs by this point had been around for 16 years. They started in 1981. They were actually on their second lead singer by this point.
Wasn't it a similar situation with the band from the first
Violent Femmes?
Yeah.
Violent Femmes had been around for a long time, but I think that was all original singers. I don't think the Violent Femmes had been around as long when they were on Sabrina as these guys had.
I thought they had been around for a
Rainy
while.
Day is a great song. It is actually on my Spotify playlist and has been for months. I don't know if teens would like it though. Like it feels like a very like adult contemporary kind of song.
I don't know, maybe.
So the chief gimmick of this episode, Chris, the candy corn river.
Yeah.
That does look fantastic. Like when it's pouring out, it's impressive as hell. It's forceful. It's great. When you do see like all the candy corn that came out and it's on the floor, it doesn't look like that much actually. It looks like 50 pounds of candy corn or maybe.
I mean, it's probably a shit ton, but
Yeah.
because it's so small, it doesn't actually look like a lot when it's spread out.
Yeah. Most important note here, Chris.
Oh, God.
Fuck all of those kids who ran up to it and like stepped all over it and started eating it. Fuck all of you. There's an image I have of like the kids eating like handfuls of it, and one fucking dickhead in the corner, his like boot
Foot is
shoes
on it.
are just covered in candy corn. Like he's been stepping on it all day.
I did notice that one of the girls is literally just playing with it, like moving it around and not picking any of it up. She's just like, ooh.
Whatever you do, don't eat a fucking piece of it. I swear. It's probably all plastic. It's not even real candy corn. Although you would think that would
it's probably cheaper to just buy candy corn.
Maybe
You can for like $1, you can get like a 2-pound bag.
I figure, but maybe like when they filmed this, candy corn wasn't available, so they like to have like plastic candy corn just to like if they ever have to do a Halloween episode. I don't know how props work. I do know how the Whose Line Is It Anyway game props work, and it's a lot of fun.
There was something else I wanted to say, and I can't remember what it was now.
Quizmaster not being able to see his family despite the fact that he has magic. And we've seen many times how easy it is to go from one place to another.
I mean, it's stupid, but it's also kind of depressing. Like, he went to go hang out with Sabrina, and she was kind of a bitch.
Also, you would think what Sabrina... We know that Sabrina isn't his only student, so why go see Sabrina?
I don't know. But he does that a lot.
He does. Well, otherwise, he's not on the show.
Okay, so I remembered what it was. I have a very different take on the whole Harvey thing than you do.
Okay.
Okay. You think it was a smirk. I think it was more of a like, oh, sort of thing. Because I'm pretty sure her house was the one that they egged.
Yeah.
That he was like, stop.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh shit, it was her house. Like, I don't think it was planned. Whereas you seem to have come to the conclusion where like he had them egg her house.
I think that is what happened. Or at least like he was fine with them egging her house. Because I think like this part of season 2, one of the arcing stories here is that Harvey and Sabrina are apart, but last episode Harvey established that he really misses Sabrina and wants to get back together, but he doesn't want to make her feel pressured. So I think this is just a nice thing Harvey did to like help her party out.
I don't see it that way because based off of his expression and the fact that you only see the one egging, I just think that they egged her house and he didn't stop it. And not because like he meant to stop it or he meant not to stop it, but like just because he got there late and then they ran off. And I don't think it was something that he like told them, hey, egg this house.
Whatever. I think Harvey did a nice thing for Sabrina is my point. But besides the point, Chris, that's the end of the episode here. And as you know, on the Witch Trials here, we have a very special scale for rating episodes of Sabrina Teenage Witch. I'm talking very softly now for some reason. Don't know why. The TGIF scale, Chris. The This Good I Feel scale. 1 to 5 scale. Corresponding TGIF show for each number. 1 out of 5 is a You Wish. Very good. Yeah. 2 out of 5. Teen Angel. 3 out of 5. Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Come on, Chris. 4 out of 5.
Family Matters.
Family Matters. Perfect score. 5 out of 5.
Is
Boy Meets World, baby. Danielle Fishel without a head. Chris, where does this episode fall for you on that very expensive scale that I had to pay to be made?
I feel like it's a Hanging with Mr. Cooper, but like a low Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
I will actually go below that and say it's a moderate Teen Angel. I think it doesn't succeed in a lot of ways. The candy corn thing is a fun visual, as I said, but it doesn't progress any of the stories unless you read the Harvey thing my way, and even so, it's so whittle, but it's really pointless.
Because Harvey and Sabrina spend like no time together.
Right. It doesn't progress them getting back together. It doesn't progress this witch's license story. It doesn't make Sabrina more likable or appealing, as we said before. And a lot of the stuff that's supposed to be comedic isn't fun. It's not funny. But all the fucking termite shit is awful. Yeah. I skipped over it almost describing it just because it's not fun to talk about. It's just a bunch of stupid little jokes. The part of and the party thing, like that's almost totally not focused on. Like, she's almost never there, and the reason that the party fails isn't because of magic, it's because of anything, a lack of the use of magic, because when magic actually does get used, the party is good.
Yeah. I feel like the only enjoyable aspect is in the last few minutes. The fact that magic gets to be used in the guise of just being special effects or something, and that it makes the party better. Like, being able to use your magic and people thinking it's, just they don't realize it's real. Right. I think that's the enjoyable factor, because that's something that you would always want to be able to do and be like, I can use my magic and get away with it.
Yes.
So
not a great episode, as I said. The main event here, Chris, though. Let me do that one more time, because I don't sound like a bee. I'll leave all of us in. The main event on the Witch Trials here, Chris, the back of the Winning Closet Award. Each episode's in the war. I'm so tired. Each episode, I have to remember this every time.
You don't have to say Valerie anymore. It's okay.
Each episode's award for the installment's biggest fashion flop. Chris, it's the Quizmaster. It's the Quizmaster's pants.
I think it's his pants with an honorable mention for Sabrina's top.
Ah, the Shaolin Showdown top.
Yep.
Yes. Very good. Total agreement on that one, and as just we should. That's not even a sentence. It didn't make a lot of sense.
If we could give an award to the couch upholstery, then
I liked the design points of the Rasta hair and the mustache and whatever
it's just a bunch of garbage. Like, one was striped, and it's like so many conflicting patterns and stuff. It just, none of it goes.
Or the
and then
the
doilies
whips.
and pillows. Oh my god, that one's the worst.
It is.
And then it's pink on the underside. Like, why?
Those are the lips.
So gross.
Lips, and then it's got eyelashes.
Those are gums. The red is the lips.
Oh god. I like all the design touches of them.
Stupid tassels. Like, who would tassel a pillow like that and mix those prints in that way?
They are.
That piping is fucking sloppy.
Really annoying. That is the episode, however, Chris. I do want to thank you for being on another episode of The Witch Trials. It's always fun to talk to you about a bad episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
And hate on Sabrina together.
I do want to give you a second to plug what you got going on over at chrisconkers.com. You are the media maven over there.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what's going on there, including a redesign, a recent redesign.
Oh, yeah. We have a new layout, which Al actually helped me with.
I did.
And...
I really just said that to promote myself.
Yeah. And we've got a lot happening, actually. There's some new beauty posts and new book reviews this week, and we're gonna have some new keto updates and stuff. So
the Firefighter's Perfect Plan.
Yeah, it's today.
Yes.
There's another book review coming tomorrow,
and that's gonna be the EMT's Thrusting is a Mustang. That's what.
No, it's Scoring Off the Field.
Wow, that honestly
romance.
Is more like cliched than mine. Mine was just nonsense. But do check it out there, folks.
Yeah.
chrisconkers.com. No H in Chris, by the way. I don't think we mention that often enough. CrisConquers.com. Next episode will be episode 32, shockingly, Inagata Sabrina, which is the kickoff to the Time Chasers storyline, which crossed over all 4 episodes of TGIF that given night, went from Sabrina to Boy Meets World to I Want to Say You Wish to Teen Angel. So I'm going to think about and try and figure out how we can cover all 4 episodes, maybe with 4 guests. The other 3 non-Sabrina episodes might have to be like shorter, because that's like 4 hours of content.
It's a lot.
But I will figure it out somehow. Inagata Sabrina, a fun episode if I remember correctly. Sabrina goes back to the 60s. It's going to be a lot of fun. I do want to tell you before that, however, that you should and you must, or I'll be very saddened, follow Sabrina's Witch Trials on Facebook, facebook.com/Sabrina's Witch Trials, Twitter, twitter.com/Sabrina Podcast, or at Sabrina Podcast if you just want to follow us there. And Instagram, instagram.com/Sabrina's Witch Trials, or at Sabrina's Witch Trials. You should also know that you can listen to us on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. I'm just saying things in a funny way now.
Good.
SoundCloud, the Google Play Podcast Session, and that was just for Chris. And anywhere you get your podcasts, we're in every podcast app. Just search for us.
And you can like and subscribe on YouTube.
You can, and there are a lot of fun YouTube-specific videos, only on YouTube, called Sabrina's Trial Briefs, because they're brief segments from Sabrina's Wish Trials, and also I had no other name for them. They're all up there, and they're a lot of fun, a lot of video editing going on.
And
over
you can click
there.
The little bell icon and get a notification.
That's right. You should smash that subscribe button and like, comment. Hey, guys, if you think Quizmaster's pants are terrible, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and smash that subscribe button. I just want to smash. Isn't it that fucking girl that you like? What's her face? Says smash. Yeah, her. We're on the same level in terms of YouTube.
Sure.
So check us out on YouTube. Just give a quick search to Sabrina's Wish Trials and you'll find us. It's the one with my logo on it. Go figure. Until then, until next time, and until we kick off the Time Chaser storyline, which in many ways includes a lot of shit episodes. I've seen the Teen Angel one not too long ago. It's really bad. Like, if I remember correctly, they turn the family's dog into a guy so that the family's mom has someone to go out with. Get ready. Until then, I want to say thank you for listening to the Witch Trials once again, and we will see you in the other realm.
Okay, listen up, you upholstered losers. If you misbehave for just one instant, I'll cut you, man.